Assalamualaikum and very good day everyone. So we are from group 2 and today we'll be going to present a portfolio presentation. So here are the group members of group 2. The first one we have Aina, the second one is Julita Aishah, the third one is Fatihah, and last but not least is Helwany.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hi, we are from group 2. So here is our presentation to the e-portfolio. But before going through the page together, let's get to know what is the meaning of literary elements. So literary element is a fundamental component of storytelling that helps shape a narrative. These elements are present in all works of literature and contribute to the overall structure and meaning of a story. Some common literary elements include plot, character, setting, theme, conflict, point of view, tone, mood, symbolism, and foreshadowing. So without further ado, let's move on to the e-portfolio.
Now let's jump into our e-portfolio where we have 4 literary elements and teaching materials. So let's start first with our first literary element, which is symbolism, choose by me. So I chose The Pencil, short story by Ali Majud. And I put first the definition of symbolism, which is it is a literary device where an object, character, or event an action to represent something beyond on its literal meanings. So it is used to convey deeper meaning or ideas, often abstract concepts like love, hope, power, or freedom through tangible or concrete things. So there are three key features of symbolism. The first one is representation of ideas. The second one is enhanced understandings, and the third one is context dependence. Next is the example of symbolism. You can see the picture of trees where the picture of tree can portray a growth and strength. Tree also can represent a life and renewal and wisdom. The second example is the color red. So mostly the color red represents the patience, love, or danger. So next part is teaching material. So this is how teachers can teach a symbolism in the short story. So the first one is the pre-lesson. So teacher will show 5 pictures as a visual to the class, which is the heart symbol to show love. We have ocean pictures to show vastness, mystery, or change. The third one is pencil to represent creativity or learning. The third one is tree to represent growth or strength, and the mirror to represent self-relation or truth. So after that, student will respond and answer the question from the teacher. There are 2 questions. What do this object mean to you? And the second question is, do they represent more than what they are? And after that, teacher and also student will discuss the answer together, and teacher will introduce the symbolism to the class using the slides. And the next is the reading activity. So teacher will project an image of a pencil on the slides, and there are 2 questions. They need to be answered together, which is the first one is, what does a pencil symbolize in real life? And the second question is, why might be the author have chosen a pencil as the main object in this story? So next, teacher will shows an excerpt from the short story, and student will read in pairs together. After that, we have group activities. So it is a multimodal symbolism exploration where teacher will divide the class into 4 groups, assigning tasks based on the multimodal learning approach. We have 4 basically, which is the first one is visual group to create a mind map showing all the things the pencil might symbolize. The second group will do the which is the auditory group. Will discuss and list the ways the pencil connects to the personal experience or other ideas. They need to share the findings with the class also. And the third one is the third group, which is reading or writing group, to write a short story paragraph explaining how the pencil represents growth or responsibility in the story. And the fourth group is kinesthetic group, which is they need to act out a scene from the story that highlight the pencil symbolic meaning. And last activity is creative activity, which is it is individual activity where teacher asks each student to draw or design a pencil that represent their personal interpretation of its symbolism in the story using A4 paper provided by the teacher. For example, if student want to draw a pencil with a glowing tip to symbolize creativity, or else student can draw a pencil surrounded by books to symbolize learning. Afterwards, students will present their design and explain the symbolic meaning to the class. So next part we have justification, where for my teaching approach I have carefully chosen this material and activities to ensure that my Form 2 student can grasp effectively the concept of symbolism while being engaged in the learning process. So for the pre-lesson, I selected familiar and relatable objects such as heart symbol, an ocean picture, a pencil or tree and a mirror, so that they can spark their curiosity, encourage them to think critically about how symbol convey deeper meaning. Next part we have the reading activity. So I decided to use a projected image of pencil alongside excerpt from the story. So this visual aid helps students focus on the central object and open up a discussion about its symbolic meaning in both real and the story. Next, we have the group activities. For tasks that align with the multi-modal learning approach. So, dividing a student into group based on their preferred learning style. So, we have 4, which is the first one is visual learners. They can create mind maps. Auditory learners, they can engage in discussion. Reading and writing learners, they can compose paragraph. And kinesthetic learners, they can add our scenes. So this method ensures the inclusivity, allowing every student to participate in a way that suits their strength while deepening their understanding of the pencil symbolism. So and also the collaboration in group also encourage teamwork and the exchange of ideas, which enrich their learning experience. Lastly, we have the creative activity of designing their own symbolic pencil. Allow my students to personalize their learning. By drawing or designing this pencil, they can actively engage with the concept and interpret the symbolism in a way reflect their own perspective. So next part we have a learning theory, where the teaching material and activities in this lesson are rooted in various learning theories that enhance student engagement and understanding. The first one we have constructivism. It plays a central role as students actively construct their knowledge by interacting with familiar objects and discussing their symbolic meaning during their pre-lesson activity. The second one we have social constructivism, which is inspired by Vygotsky and is evident in the group task, where students collaborate and share ideas and co-construct their understanding of symbolism. The lesson also incorporates multimodal learning theory by addressing diverse learning styles, which is visual learners to engage with images and mind map. We have auditory learners participate in discussion. We have reading or writing learners to analyze and write about symbolism. And last, we have kinesthetic learners to add our scene and create design. We also have experiential learning to integrate through the creative activity, where students design their own symbols, allowing them to apply their knowledge in a hands-on and meaningful way. So this aligns with Bloom taxonomy as the lesson progress from identifying and understanding symbolism to analyzing its role in the story and creating new symbolic representation. Additionally, we have guidance stories of multiple intelligence to ensure inclusivity by engaging linguistic, visual, spatial, and interpersonal intelligence through various tasks. By leveraging this story, this lesson provides a dynamic and interactive learning experience that caters to all students while deepening their understanding of symbolism. Next part, we have attachment. This is the attachment of Canvas slides for symbolism. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum and welcome to my e-portfolio page. My name is Aleeya Helwany and the literary device I will be presenting today is simile. Okay, so when you first come to my page, you'll see the title, simile, my name, Aleeya Helwany binti Rahman, and my metric number. And when you scroll down, the first thing you'll see is the definition of simile. And according to the Cambridge Dictionary 2024, a simile is an expression comparing one thing with another, as always including the words as or like. And down there, you'll see an example of simile, Ali sleeps like a log. The expression does not mean that Ali is a log, but it's trying to portray that Ali is a deep sleeper, and just like a log, it doesn't move when it's sleeping. So this is a picture of a log sleeping on a bed. Next, we'll move on to the teaching material. So for simile, I have come up with 3 different teaching materials to use. So the first one is a YouTube video on simile, where teacher will present the YouTube video about simile to the pupils as an introduction to the literary device, and then based on the video, the teacher will question the students and ask them for the definition and also the examples given in the video. Next, I will be using an interactive slide using Journally, where teacher will explain the definition of simile to pupils in that, because from the video it's just a brief definition, and also teacher will show 3 examples of common similes and ask students to guess the meaning of the simile, and once they have guessed it, the teacher will show the correct definition or the correct meaning of the simile, and then teacher clarifies the correct meaning of simile. Then, teacher tests the pupils' understanding by showing a slide with 1 simile and 2 random proverbs, and based on that 1 simile and 2 random proverbs, the students must identify which one of the 3 is the simile. So the third one is a few simile questions using Mentimeter. So this is a group work, so students will be divided into a group of 5s, and then there will be a simile given to them, presented to them, and pupils are tasked to identify or come up with the meaning of the simile, and based on the simile, they must also construct a sentence using the simile. And then the teacher will check each group's answers and correct mistakes made by students. So next, the justification. For the teaching materials that I have come up with, there are 3 different teaching materials. So for the first one, YouTube video, it helps captures the students' attention and enables them to focus more on the visualization and also the explanation given in the video. For the second one is, rather than using a traditional presentation slide, I opt to use the interactive slides, which allows them to be in charge of the learning and also engage in the learning, rather than have students just listen and just write down notes and stuff. They are a part of the lesson. And lastly is simile questions using Mentimeter. It's also an interactive approach because in order for them to answer, they have to answer through the Mentimeter site. And not only that, it allows students to work together and also promotes teamwork and cooperation. Lastly, moving on to the next part, which is learning theories. Based on each teaching materials, there are different learning theories that are relatable to the teaching materials. For the first teaching material, it relates to cognitive learning theory, because the students are asked to watch the video and gain basic understanding of simile, which will help them in the next activity during class. And then moving on, the second teaching material aligns with the connectivism learning theory, where since the students already understand a bit about simile based on the video, they will use their knowledge to connect with what they are going to learn in the interactive slide. So what they already know, they will use that and they will try to align it with what they are learning in the interactive slide. Lastly, the third teaching material connects with constructivism learning theory, and they will use their new knowledge and previous knowledge to create a better understanding. And not only that, it helps them because like I said, they will be working in groups, so the pupils will be collaborating and they will share the knowledge and understanding, and they will come up as a group to create the best answers for the meaning and the sentences together. And at the bottom of my page, you will find the attachment. So the first is the YouTube video I have chosen about simile. Secondly is the interactive slide using Journally, and lastly is the simile questions that I will ask the students in groups using Mentimeter. I think that is all from me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Julita Aishah and I chose haiku as my literary device, and as you can see over here, this is my cover page for my e-portfolio. Okay, next, moving forward to the definition. So, what is haiku? According to the Britannica Encyclopedia 2024, haiku, or also known as hokku, is a traditional form of Japanese poetry that consists of 3 lines with a specific 5-7-5 syllable pattern. The first line has 5 syllables, the second has 7, and the third has 5. Haiku are known for being short and simple, yet they capture deep meaning in just a few words. Haiku teaches us to slow down, observe, and appreciate the beauty of the world around us. It encourages creativity, mindfulness, and the power of words to create vivid imagery. And, example of haiku. So the example is from a famous haiku by Matsuo Basho in 1686. The haiku is, an old silent pond, a frog jumps into the pond. Splash! Silence again. So this haiku paints a peaceful, quiet scene where the frog jumps momentarily, disrupts the stillness of the pond, but then everything returns to silence. It reflects how nature moves in cycles, reminding us to appreciate small, everyday moments. Okay, moving on to teaching materials. I have created 3 teaching materials based on the haiku literary device. And the first one is creating haiku with interactive haiku generator. So this activity requires teachers to use a tool or a web from the website, which is haiku generator. So the steps are, first, the teacher opens the haiku generator website on the projector or smartboard. Next, teacher enters a theme or keyword, example rain, love, or autumn, and click generate to produce a haiku. The teacher then reads the generated haiku aloud with the class and discuss. Does it follow the 5-7-5 structure? Does it convey a clear image or feeling? And students then work individually or in pairs to generate their own haikus using the tool. Okay, next, students write down their favorite generated haiku in their notebooks or worksheet. And each student read their haikus to their partner, and their partners will give feedbacks like, what do you visualize from this haiku? And the teacher selects a few students to present their haikus. And lastly, the teacher discusses their haikus together with the whole class. Okay, next is Haiku Mystery Theme Challenge. So this is actually a physical activity that teacher can play with the students by doing haiku together with the whole class. And the steps are, firstly, students are divided into small groups. 3 or 4 students per group is okay. And next, the teacher hands out a small box filled with slips of paper containing random themes. Example, nature, emotions, friendship, or even school life. Okay, next, each group randomly picks out a theme from the box. And then the students will brainstorm and write a haiku based on their theme. Okay, once done, the students will decorate their haiku on the paper and they will draw related pictures, add colors, or make it creative. And then each group will present their haiku to the whole class, and the others will try to guess the theme before revealing it. Okay, lastly, the teacher will discuss together and give awards for the most creative, funniest, or meaningful haiku. Okay, lastly, which is the third one, is learning haiku with YouTube. So this is basically an activity where teacher shows a YouTube video to the students about haiku. And the steps are, firstly, the teacher plays a short video that explains what a haiku is and how to write one. And next, students will take notes while watching the video. And the third one is teacher asks the students questions like, what do you understand about haiku? What are some common themes in haiku? And can you remember one example or a haiku line from the video? And then the teacher replays key parts of the video for deeper understanding. And lastly, the teacher will guide the students to write their own haiku based on the themes in the video. Okay, now moving on to justification. So why did I choose haiku out of all the literary devices given? Well, I chose haiku because it is a simple yet powerful form of poetry that can enhance students' creativity, language skills, and also appreciation for literature. I believe haiku structures and syllable format can encourage students to think critically about the word choice and meaning while expressing their thoughts concisely. Also, haiku often revolves around nature and emotions, making it very relatable and engaging for Form 2 students. Also, teaching haiku allows teachers to integrate multiple literacy skills, including reading, writing, and speaking in a fun and interactive way. Okay, moving forward for the three teaching materials, the first one I chose is the creating haiku with interactive haiku generator. Why I chose that? Because I believe that this activity can help students to grasp the 575 haiku structure by generating and analyzing examples in real time. So this tool allows teachers to guide students in understanding haiku patterns while providing them with an interactive and visual learning experience. Also, the peer feedback enables the students to develop critical thinking by reflecting on the imagery and meaning in haikus. Okay, the next one is the Haiku Mystery Theme Challenge activity that I chose. I chose that activity because it fosters creativity and teamwork. So by having the students to write haikus based on random themes that they chose, I believe that it can encourage the students to think imaginatively and apply their understanding of haiku structure in a fun and engaging way together as a team. So the artistic element helps kinesthetic and visual learners, while the guessing component promotes active listening and analytical thinking among students. Okay, last one is the learning haiku with YouTube. So I believe it is a simple yet fun activity because it supports multimodal learning. So by using videos allows teacher to combine audio, visual, and textual elements to explain haiku structure and themes effectively. So the note-taking and discussion activity part reinforce comprehension, and the writing exercises can help students to apply their learning in a structured manner. Alright, now moving forward for the learning theories. So the development of teaching materials for teaching haiku that I have chosen are grounded in key learning theories such as second language acquisition, SLA, constructivism, and also behaviorism. So firstly, for the second language acquisition, SLA, it emphasizes that language learning occurs best when students are exposed to meaningful input and have opportunities for interaction. By incorporating interactive haiku generators and YouTube videos, students can receive comprehensible input that allows them to observe and internalize the haiku structure in context. Also, peer discussion and feedback sessions provide valuable output opportunities, helping students develop both receptive and productive language skills. Moreover, creating their own haikus aligns with Krashen's input hypothesis, where students engage with language in an immersive and low anxiety environment. Okay, next one. As for the constructivism, which is the constructivist theory pioneered by Piaget and Vygotsky, stresses that learning is most effective when students actively construct their own knowledge through experiences. Therefore, activities such as the Haiku Mystery Theme Challenge encourage students to collaborate, brainstorm, and create original haikus based on given themes. So this hands-on approach fosters deeper understanding by making learning meaningful and student-centered. Furthermore, Vygotsky's Zone of Proximal Development, ZPD, suggests that peer collaboration and teacher guidance support students in reaching higher level of proficiency. Okay, lastly is behaviorism, which is the behaviorist principles as proposed by Skinner, which highlights the importance of reinforcement in learning. So the structured practice provided by haiku generators can allow students to receive immediate feedback, reinforcing correct language patterns, and also prompting them to self-correct errors. Positive reinforcement such as praise and rewards for well-written haikus also encourages motivations and participation among students. Okay, lastly is the attachments for the 3 teaching materials that I have chosen and created. Okay, the first one we have the haiku generator. So this is an automatic haiku generator tool where we just choose some keywords and it will automatically create us a haiku poem in seconds. Okay, the next one is the YouTube video link. So this YouTube video titled How to Write a Haiku Poem. So it is really suitable and beginner friendly, and therefore it is very good for Form 2 students to watch and learn from this video. And lastly, we have the teaching material for the Haiku Mystery Team Challenge. As you can see here, there is a box filled with a few themes and slips of paper, and all the teacher need to do is just hand out the box to the students and they will pick out a random theme like school life, family, emotions, seasons, nature or friendship, etc. And the students need to create their own haiku based on the themes that they have chosen. Okay, I think that is all from my part. Thank you so much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Putri binti Azman, and as you can see here, this is my cover page for the e-portfolio. And for the literary elements, I chose characters and characteristics. Okay, now let's move on to the next page of my e-portfolio, which is the definition of what is character and characteristics. So, according to M.H. Abrams and Geoffrey Harfram in a glossary of literary term 2015, they define character as the person that represented in a dramatic or narrative work who are interpreted by the readers as possessing particular moral, intellectual, and emotional qualities by inferences from what they say from the dialogue or what they do from the action. Meanwhile, characteristics refer to the distinct traits and qualities that define and differentiate characters within a narrative. So these attributes encompass a character's physical appearance, personality, behaviors, thoughts, motivations, and interactions with others. Okay, now let's move on to teaching materials. So for this part, I chose a short story titled Cheat from Aidan Bailey. The first thing first that I done during the lesson was introducing them to the character and characteristics. I asked them a few questions. Does they know what is defined by character and characteristics, and also how can they differentiate the two literary elements, because it seems similar and it might be confusing for them to identify which is character and which is characteristics. Then, to make sure that they get a better and deeper understanding, I showed them a YouTube link regarding to the definition, example, and types of characters. Next, I also distribute a sheet of paper related to the learning title Cheat by Aidan Bailey. After watching to the YouTube videos, I distributed them a sheet of paper about the topic related for the learning session, which is the short story, and I asked them to read the story and so that they can get an overview of what they're going to learn on that day. And I also asked them to remember and list out the characters and identify the characteristics of each characters. Okay, next, which is the activity time, exploring the characters and characteristics in the story. So in this part, students were divided into 5 groups of students. So as they finish reading the text given, they need to identify all the characters in the story and write the name of the characters on the manila card that teachers provide for them for the lesson. And teacher also asked them to recognize the characteristics based on what they read from the text. But I also do provide them flashcards that contain short dialogue or scene from the short story, so it will help them to recognize the characters and characteristics of the characters. So they need to answer the questions in group. Okay, as you can see here, this is my teaching materials for the lesson, and the first picture show characters and also the name of the characters, and the second picture showed flashcards which contain short scenes and also a dialogue from the short story that I chose, and the last photos showed final result after the student answered the questions. And yeah, during the summarization, which is the end of the part of the learning session, I asked them what they have learned during the lesson on that day, and we do a revision together because it will help us to think of what we have learned on that day and how does it relate to ourselves, to our daily life, and I also ask them to write on the sticky note what are their characteristics. Okay, now let's talk about justification for my teaching materials. For my teaching materials, I have chosen characters and characteristics as it is simple and easy to relate to the students. I really want my Form 2 students to get to know what is defined by the literary elements, characters, and characteristics. So, the first teaching material I use in my class is YouTube. Before beginning the class, I ask on the understanding and characters and characteristics. Then I show them a video from a YouTube. So I think this approach surely helps them to get an overview of what actually defined by the chosen literary elements. It is a good method for both visual and auditory learning, which can help students engage with the context of learning in multiple ways. Moreover, the visual examples are more tangible and easier for the students to grasp the concepts. Then I distributed a sheet of paper to each of my Form 2 students according to what we were going to learn during the lesson, and they were needed to read the text, the short story, and analyze the characters created and also their characteristics. Moving to the activity time, they were divided to few groups to play the game. So I'm using the technique of flashcard, which I wrote a few scenes and dialogues from the story to help my students memorize and recognize the characteristics of each characters in the short story. In my opinion, the uses of flashcards are to reinforce memory by prompting active recall and also able to allow students to access to their own knowledge so that they know which part of the learning needs improvement. Lastly, to end the class session, I revised together with my students what they have learned during the learning period, and not only that, I also asked them what they feel on the to this topic and I also asked them to write their characteristics because it will be more fun as they can relate the learning context with themselves. Furthermore, I think it is important for a teacher to revise together with students to know and identify their understanding on the lesson. Okay, for the learning theory, this approach integrates several learning theories which are constructivism, social learning theory, and cognitivism. The use of constructivist principles as proposed by Jean Piaget and Lev Vygotsky is evident throughout the lesson. The teacher encourages students to actively engage in the learning process through inquiry-based questioning and by prompting them to recall and differentiate between characters and characteristics in the short story titled Cheat by Ellen Bailey. This approach emphasizes active learning, where students build on their existing knowledge, formulating their understanding of literary concepts by connecting prior experiences to the new information. Through this, students are not passive recipients of information, but are instead participants in constructing their knowledge. Next, the lesson also reflects social learning theory, particularly Albert Bandura's concepts of learning through observation and social interaction. By dividing students into groups and asking them to collaboratively identify characters and their traits, the teacher fosters a learning community where students can discuss, share, and build upon each other's ideas. This collaborative environment encourages peer-to-peer learning, enhancing comprehension through group dynamics. In this way, students benefit not only from their own learning, but also from the perspective and insights of their peers, which enriches the understandings of complex literary elements. Furthermore, the lesson incorporates cognitivism, which focuses on how students process and organize information in their minds. The use of visual aids such as videos and flashcards taps into the multimodal learning strategy, catering to various learning styles and helping to facilitate the encoding of information into long-term memory. The video, which provides a deeper explanation of characters and characteristics, helps students to visualize the abstract concepts, making them more concrete and accessible. Similarly, the use of flashcards encourages active recall, prompting students to retrieve and apply the understanding of the material, so that this actually aligns with cognitivist ideas about how learners actively organize and process information rather than simply memorizing facts. Okay, now we are on the last page of my e-portfolio, which is the attachment. So here are the attachment of my e-portfolio, which is the YouTube link to the definitions, types, and examples of the characters and characteristics, and also a sheet of paper that I distribute to my Form 2 students about a short story titled Cheat by Ellen Bailey. So I think that's all for my e-portfolio presentation. Thank you.